Greetings, ladies and gentlefish, and welcome to a pair of subscriber replays, courtesy of Mac. Yes, it's Mac again, and these two replays are once more going to be in slow, ponderous British machines. So, we're kicking proceedings off with the AT8 Tier 6 British tank destroyer. This is the original one that was on the, original Nuffield tank destroyer line. So the other Tier 6 British tank destroyer is the Achilles. Basically a Wolverine with a bigger gun. So Mac is here in an encounter game on Himmelsdorf, and he is taking Banana Alley. Now the AT8 is very slow and ponderous, so going up onto the hill, would be a bit of a problem. And so he's here on Banana Alley, and I assume... it looks like he's using the 17-pounder gun. And there's a very... yes, he is. And there's a very, very unfortunate little Lux. And the Lux is trying to get around him, but frankly, with the Lux's penetration, although not terrible for a Tier 4 light tank, he's going to really struggle to penetrate the AT8 unless he knows what he's doing. And apparently he doesn't. He's just driven down Banana Road, and Mac executes him. So, kill number 1 for the Maxter. Alright, so just still pushing down Banana Road. And what are we going to come across? Well, there's a VK3601H on the G line who appears to be moving in and is presumably looking the other way. So if Mac is able to come down this road and hook a right without taking flanking fire, he may well be able to shoot that VK in his backside. And it looks indeed that is what Mac is intending to do if he can. Now the AT8 is rather short-sighted, alas, and we already have team killing. Hurrah! As our friendly artillery nails our own Su-100. You do have to be so careful when your artillery taking shots on that hill, because of the plateau of the hill. It means that your shot, where your shells are going to land, covers quite a lot, or where your shells could land, the area covers quite a large, area. And so it means, as an artillery player, if you're shooting up onto the hill from the A0 region, you have to be so very careful. As it is, the hill is now not looking particularly fantastic. The scoreline is still 6-5, but there's the very real chance that the enemy team is going to be able to push down from the hill, and if they do manage that, then suddenly they're in amongst the artillery, and there can be problems. So, Mac has been using this tank as an assault machine, which you can do when you're top tier, but it does suffer against an opponent that knows where to shoot it, because the weak spots are many and large. Now, as you can see, we have lost one, or Mac's team has lost one artillery piece. There's the VK, by the way. One artillery piece had the common sense to run away. One of them is standing. And Mac is just working this VK over from behind. And in this sort of matchmaking, actually, the 77mm gun would probably be better. Just because of the higher DPM, although I agree with Mac's gun choice. I think the 17-pounder is the overall better weapon on this machine, but in this sort of matchmaking, the 77mm would probably be better. But nonetheless, VK is down, Chaffee is next, Chaffee is down, kill number 3, and the scoreline is 10-11. There goes the second of Mac's artillery pieces, a close shot there from the enemy artillery, and another one. They do want him dead, don't they? Can the M44 derp the T150 in the face? Come on, my son, you can do it. Oh, there's the enemy artillery. Ooh, and our T1 Heavy's on very low health. So, Mac takes this opportunity to try and shoot at the enemy artillery. This is not actually a trivial task, as the gun elevation and depression on this tank sucks. In this case, it's the gun elevation that's more the point. But one advantage to being slow and ponderous is that your accuracy on the move is actually really rather good. So Mac was just backing off there, and put 2 shots into the Hummel to finish him off. Enemy T150, by the way, is currently sitting on a top gun, so well done to him. and, well, there appears to be a Mexican standoff between this T-150 and the friendly M44. Neither appears to want to come around the corner, and Mac's just letting the M44 know that he is coming, but you do have to bear in mind he's in an AT8, so speed and manoeuvrability, not really his forte. There's the T-150 in question. T-150 tries to back off, seeing the writing on the wall, but he doesn't do it quite in time, and Mac executes him. Oh, and the friendly artillery even thanks him. Well, good on you, mate. So, in massive contrast, both of the other friendly tanks, the artillery and the heavy, are on very low health, and Mac has all 800 of his hit points remaining. He has taken some fire, but they have all bounced. Now, Mac is slow and ponderous, chasing those enemy team around the map, especially the T-34. It's going to be a massive nuisance. And if he goes unsupported, there's the very real chance the T-34 could get behind him, and then it's going to start being a very, very sad time for Mac indeed. So instead, Mac is going to sit in the cap point. Well, that is the plan, anyway. The idea, of course, here is that it forces the enemy team to come to you. If they don't come to you, you win by cap. Fantastic. If they do come to you, Mac has the health pool advantage, he has the armor advantage, he has the gun advantage. The only advantage he won't have over a lot of these guys is the mobility. But Mac should be well positioned to do an awful lot of damage to them if necessary. M41 artillery piece has been spotted behind these guys. Alas, he manages to move behind the railway yard, or whatever that is, before Mac's able to turn the tank around and get a shot at him. But Mac pre-aims for... Whoa, that guy only just gets spotted though. Mac pre-aimed for the M41, but the M41 only got spotted after Mac had pre-aimed in that location, and Mac's able to finish him off, and that puts him on 6 kills. While he's doing that, the enemy T-34 polishes off the T-1 Heavy, but this T-34 is now massively outclassed. He would need to flank around the AT8. That one bounced somehow. Gosh, I was going to say with the AT8's rate of fire that's never going to happen. If that T-34 had not just nudged Mac, thus slowing him down, and had actually managed to get behind him, this game might have not gone quite so well. As it is, he does nudge Mac, he doesn't manage to get behind him, and Mac's able to execute him. And you could say, well, Mac got a little bit lucky there that the T-34 nudged him. Well, yes, and on the flip side, he got very unlucky that his second shot, which should have killed that T-34, bounced. Now, where's this birch gun? Well, this guy doesn't appear to have been spotted yet. I would not be surprised if he was still over by the friendly spawn, or possibly at the rear here around K3 region. You know, Mac spotted, or someone spotted, the other 2 artillery pieces up on the hill at one point. And I'm speeding this up because watching an AT8 drive around the map is a slow and ponderous affair. The friendly artillery is on low health, so he is actually capping.
5-minute warning.
And Mac is going exploring around the wonderful town of Himmelsdorf.
3 minutes left.
Oh, that's 3 minutes remaining. And there's the birch gun. One shot in. Birch gun flubs his shot, and execution. And there we go. 8 kills, a Radley Walters medal, bit of a carry there, and despite taking numerous hits, not a single scratch on the paintwork. Some people. Anyway, let's go and have a look at the results, and then of course there's a second game, also from Mac. So that was a nice tanker for Mac in the AT8. He got Fire for Effect, Unbreakable and Bruiser, alongside a Top Gun, of course that Radley Walters medal, and a Pascucci's medal. It was a very, very fine round indeed. 2,219 damage, 8 kills, 1,223 base experience. Mac definitely carried his team there. If you look at the experience values of the other people on his team, the next guy down got 779 experience. That was the T1 heavy tank, followed by the Jagdpanzer 4 at 519. definitely a carry. 22 shots fired, 20 hits, 18 penetrations for that 2200 damage. Received 9 hits, of which none penetrated. There were 2 splashes there, but sorry about that, but they weren't significant. And he bounced over 1000 damage with his armour. Got 15 base defense points, spotted 1 vehicle, damaged 8, killed 8, and got a 22,500 credit profit with a standard account. With a premium account, that would have been 35,500 credits. Lovely, lovely game. Let's go and have a look at another one. Here we go with the second game. Again, as I said, courtesy of Mac. And again, he's in a slow and ponderous British tank. This time of the SPG variety. So this is the Bishop, Tier 5 British artillery piece. And this is kind of an unusual artillery piece. If you compare it to the other Tier 5 SPGs, it gets quite a lot of armor, quite a lot of health. It's slow. The gun is short-ranged, low caliber, but with a very high firing arc. And a relatively good rate of fire. It's a kind of odd little tank. It's not bad, but it's unusual. And if your idea of artillery is sitting on the baseline, lobbing large caliber, high explosive shells onto people from a safe distance, the Bishop is probably not for you. But Mac is actually quite a fan of this. And I'm inclined to agree with him. It's a kind of fun machine. So, this is a Tier 5 game. Here are Prokhorovka, that's the one, and it's an encounter game. Target number 1 is this BDR, top tier heavy tank. Oh, and as you can see, the shell splash radius on for this tank is absolutely awful. That shell landed right next to the BDR and literally did nothing. You can also see that the Bishop does not get the option to mount any sort of fancy ammunition. You get high explosive, or high explosive, none of this premium malarkey. You can also see that Stug 3 was behind a rock, but the shell arc of the Bishop goes approximately via the moon, and so Mac was still able to hit this guy. Mac takes the shot and polishes him off for kill number 1 on the Stug 3G. Now, most of the friendly team appear to be clustering around the D6 region, which is a little bit worrisome because it would be nice to have someone up looking after the hill. But that's not Mac's job, so he's not going to worry about that for now. He's just going to shell these heavy tanks. KV-1, 14 hull damage. And some like track damage or something. Mac switches targets over to the Churchill, as the Churchill is a bit more of an immediate threat to his position. And also at the time the Churchill was a bit more stationary. Takes a shot and hits him for 104. You can see that this 3.7 inch howitzer, 94mm, no 114, sorry, 0.3mm gun, doesn't do a lot of damage per shot. But the rate of fire is pretty nice. It's like a lot of the British guns, low caliber, reliable. You know, generally speaking, British tanks don't like one-shot people. Takes that shot blind and is rewarded with a kill on the Churchill. So that was a bit lucky. The other thing, of course, is that because Mac is not in your typical artillery location, he is not moving between shots. With the fast reload on the Bishop, often moving between shots is actually counterproductive. And because you are not in the standard artillery spots, it means that the enemy artillery isn't really looking for you. I mean, even if this were a higher tier game, the enemy artillery is unlikely to be looking for you. And of course, every time you move, you run the higher risk of being spotted. And when you're in this sort of position, you really, really don't want that to happen. That shell misses the Chiha. Can Mac pick up on this guy? The scoreline's 4-8, by the way. This is not looking particularly good. The guy's disappeared from view. Blind shot. Kill number 3. So Mac's got 3 kills so far, and 2 of them he couldn't even see the target. And that's... Dude, keep moving. If you'd kept moving, you'd have been fine. Anyway, scoreline is 5-8. Tree just fell over in the cap circle to the left of the screen as we look at it. There's also an AMX-40 going down the 1 and 2 lines, as it's probably a relatively easy shot. Mac swings around to look at it, but alas, no. It dies. KV1 is in the capture circle, so it would be nice to be able to do something about this guy. He takes a whole shed ton of damage. Mac takes a shot that wasn't really aimed and misses. And the KV1 goes to a better place. Someone, or some people, because the cap counter is going up relatively quickly, are still in the cap circle. I'll get my words out in a moment. Grant and a Sexton 2 have been spotted. Mac aims in on the last location of that Sexton, sees an artillery shell tracer, so he's still there, takes the shot, and is rewarded with a kill and a partial reset on the base. At this point, could probably do with some damage on that Grant. Grant wouldn't necessarily usually be at the top of your priority list, but when he's sitting in the base and capping, you kind of want to do something about him. Someone gets a partial reset off on someone. It looked like it was the Grant. And can Mac finish this guy off? Come on. Takes the shot. And actually nails the guy. Scoreline is 10-11, Mac is on 5 kills. There's now a BDR, who's probably the next one who is in the base. It would be nice if that KV1 moved up to try and get some spots off. And you can see there's all this cover, and Panzer IV, Panzer IV, Panzer IV. You can see there's all that cover in the capture circle, but with the ridiculously high shell arc of the Bishop, that's not as much of an issue as it would otherwise be. Now, that shell arc does come with its problems. It means that the shell has a very long travel time, just because it has a very long travel distance. And so leading shots with this gun is difficult, especially as the gun arc on the Bishop is rather limited. As the capture counter is up to 72, Mac is switching his attention back to the cap, and there is the S35CA, who gets partially resetted. And somehow Mac critted that guy for 0 damage. Oh yeah. Panzer IV-H has been spotted again. It looks like Mac's going to take a shot at this BDR first. Shot out, damage on. Panzer IV-H is behind you. BDR is dead, and Mac now moves. Now, being a Bishop, depending on what gun that Panzer IV's got, if he's using the 75mm gun, Mac can actually take a couple of shots from that guy. Nope, looks like he's using the little stubby howitzer, and he misses. Congratulations, dude. Well done. Depends how good this guy is. If he's firing HE, this guy will be a problem. Ooh, nice shot. If he's firing armor piercing like a Muppet, then Mac could actually bounce the shot. If he's firing heat, Mac could actually bounce the shot. And if the guy is firing HE, it's at least not a guaranteed penetration and kill. Mac takes that shot, but alas, the Panzer IV ninjas out of the way. So the scoreline is now 12-12. There are 3 tanks left on each team. Who has the advantage? I don't know. Very, very difficult to judge. Mac, however, if you've noticed, is actually only down to 10 rounds of ammunition. So he needs to be a little bit careful, but priority number 1 has to be nailing this Panzer. Oh, someone gets a shot into him, puts him on low health, and Mac calmly picks up the top gun. And thanks his teammates. Which is always nice. So, there's a Grilla and a T28 left. The advantage should now be with the friendly team. And hopefully, this T34 is going to spot for the Bison and the Bishop. Although, having said that, the T34 is on perilously low health. So, we shall see. Just going to speed this along a little bit, because watching a Bishop move around, much like watching an AT8 move around, is a bit like watching paint dry. And again, the range on the Bishop is very limited, so Mac is moving a lot further forward than many people would in another artillery piece. Grilla has been spotted. Mac is zeroing in on this guy's location. T34 gets a shot in. And Mac takes that shot, not fully aimed, and manages to nail the guy. There's only a T28 left on the enemy team, although, because the friendly T34 is on such low health, it is entirely possible that that T28 could win this game. Mac actually says he's capping and the T28 is all yours. Doesn't say who you is, but someone else. So just going to speed this along a little bit.
5 minutes
And
warning.
T28 has been spotted. T28 has terrible armor. Now all of the friendly tanks are in or around the capture circle. So Mac is pre-aiming for where he thinks that T28 is likely going to pop up, which is a very good idea because of the very limited gun traverse on the Bishop. $89, $90, there's the T28, misses that shot, 96, T28 gets into the capture circle. Because this is an encounter game, that pauses the cap counter. Mac takes a hit from the T28, gets behind this wreck, and is just gonna loop a shell over the buildings, hopefully. Oh, they just lost their bison and the wreck.
That was close.
Oh, the shell only lands close to the T28. Noes! And the T34 is dead as well. See what I mean? This T28 can win this game. Mac is now 1v1 versus a T28. He takes the shot. He misses. He only has 5 rounds of ammunition left. And he has a T28 coming for him, though he has a relatively fast reload. And with the armor and health of the Bishop, he can actually afford to take a couple of shots. But he knows where the T28 is. Takes the shot. Misses. 4 rounds of ammunition left. T28 pops around the side of the building. Puts 1 shot into Mac. Misses his second shot. Is that a fatal mistake? Oh, dearie, dearie me. Mac picks up the kill on the T28 with 3 rounds of ammunition remaining. That's another 8-kill game and another Radley Walters medal for Mac. So very well done there. Let's go and have a quick look at the post-battle results. So an ace tanker there for Mac, a bruiser token, top gun, high caliber, that Radley Walters medal, and a Starks medal, which is an unusual award you get for polishing off light tanks on the enemy team. 1,510 damage, 8 kills, 989 base experience. Mac definitely carried his team there, especially at the end when it was 1v1 versus that T28. The T28 missed a shot at Mac. That probably wouldn't have killed Mac, but it could easily have damaged the ammo rack or killed a crew member or done something very, very unpleasant. So it was perhaps a little bit lucky, but regardless. Oh, and let's not forget, the blind shots that hit were hilarious, but regardless, it was a good game from Mac. 29 shots fired. You don't often say that about an artillery piece. 15 hits, 6 splashes, 14 penetrations for that 1,510 damage. Mac received 3 hits, of which 2 penetrated and 1 did not. Again, not something you say very often when driving an artillery piece. He blocked 110 damage with his armor. Spotted 1 tank, damaged 11, killed 8, and picked up 253 assistance damage and 39 base defense points. Mac was running a premium account at the time, so he got 24,500 credits profit. That would have been 13.5 without the premium account. A very nice round there, including these 2 videos and a game that Mac had in his Churchill Mark 7 that I showed earlier on. That means that Mac so far has 3 Radley Walters medals, at least that I'm aware of, which is rather impressive. And they're all in slow, ponderous British tanks. You know, those machines that most people say are garbage. So there we go. I guess there's a tank for every occasion and every person. Lovely pair of games there, courtesy of Mac, racking up the kills in those mid-tier British tank destroyers and artillery pieces. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, please feel free to catch some of my others and or subscribe to my channel, and I wish you very happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao ciao.